Tracy Meek. I am doing a demonstrative speech on how to make a cake. I earlier had done one about a flower garden, but I've somehow deleted that or lost it. So my husband is going to be taping this. And my daughter is in the audience here, and I'm going to show you how to make a Wicky Wacky cake. And I've already got the flour put in there. And what you want to do is you want to use and put all of your dry ingredients in first off before you put any of the liquid in. And this is a really simple recipe. And it actually has no eggs in it at all. And I've already preheated my oven as well, because I'm only allowed 8 to 10 minutes for my demonstration. Okay, I've got the flour and the sugar in, and next would be my cocoa. And if you want to get real true measurements, what you do is you just take the one edge, the flat edge of the knife, and just scrape it off like this so that you have an even amount over your measuring spoon. I have been actually making this cake since I was probably 10 years old, I suppose. I've been doing it a long time. And next we have some baking soda. And you can just, with the baking soda, there's a little ledge right here from the opening, and you can just scrape, your teaspoon over the top or underneath of that to make it even. And next we have the salt. I put just a little bit more than a teaspoon in because it says optional 1 to 1 1/4 teaspoons. So I just let it kind of go over a little bit when I do that. And then next we have the vanilla. And then I have oil next. And then I have vinegar, and one of the reasons I always wanted to make this cake when I was a little girl, when I watched my mom, is, honey, come over here and I'll show them what happens when you add vinegar to baking soda on the top of my mix here. I'm just gonna make sure I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of vinegar. And it goes right over the top of that. See how it fuzzes up? I don't know why, it's kind of stupid, but when I was a little girl, I just always thought that was really cool. Okay. And now my last ingredient is 2 cups of cold water. I've never used anything but cold water because it says cold water, so. And that is all the ingredients. And all I use is just a little handheld mixer. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to listen to this mix up, but it doesn't take long. Make sure you get all the lumps, you know, from your flour or anything out, or sugar. And once your batter, you want to come over here and show them. Once your batter starts kind of looking like it's bubbling as you're mixing it, then you're really starting to be able to tell that, you know, all the ingredients are getting mixed up really good. And I just put it on power every once in a while just to make sure. I'd say about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Kind of basically what they say on the back of the cake mix box is how they tell you to mix it. I usually don't time it, so I guess I can't really tell you how long I do it for. But that looks pretty good. And since there are no eggs in it, you can, you know, lick the beaters if that's what you like to do. But we're not going to do that. So the next thing we will do is I'll come over here to my stove, and I already have my cake pan out. And it's a 13 by 9, and I just use Pam spray. When I was a little kid, my mom always taught me to use a paper towel, and shortening is what we always used. So just spray all around and on the bottom and coat it. You don't have to put a whole lot on, or if you don't have spray, you can always, you know, like take a paper towel and use shortening if you want, or sometimes I've even had to use butter, and if you want, you can sprinkle a little flour over that to coat it. And then just pour it into your cake pan. Use a rubber spatula. Make sure you get all the batter out of the bowl. My kids always, you know, want me to leave batter in the bowl so that they can eat that too. They usually fight over it, but we're not going to have any fighting today. And just make sure, you know, it's kind of nice and even inside of your pan. And I've preheated my oven, and it says 350 degrees, so we will check. And yeah, don't look at my oven, it's dirty. It says 350, and it's supposed to be for 30 minutes, but I know my oven pretty well, so when I set my timer, I usually set it for anywhere between 5 and 6 minutes shorter than what the original time calls for, because my oven tends to run a little bit hot, even though the thermostat or the thermometer in there, you know, shows it at 350. So I'm going to set my timer for 24 minutes and get my trusty little toothpicks out of my cluttered cupboard, because that's what I use to test my cake. And the best way to test your cake after it's baked is you insert the toothpick into the thickest part, which is usually the center of your cake, and then you pull it out, and if it has anything on it, you know, for the cake mix and stuff, that means you need to put it back in the oven for a little while. It's not fully cooked. But if you insert it and it comes out clean, then that means your cake is done. And it usually takes, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour, roughly somewhere around in there, for your cake to cool before you're allowed to put frosting on it. And the frosting I use for my Wiki Wacky cake is a homemade caramel frosting. And If you guys want the recipe, just email me at meekt@nicc.edu and I will flip you the recipe. That's it. Thank you.